Welcome back to the DJ the Money Coach Expert Interview Series. I'm Nick. As always, joined by DJ the Money Coach, the founder of the Seven Spheres of Money. And DJ will introduce our special guest for today's interview.
All right, awesome. Again, as you all well know, if you don't know me, I'm DJ the Money Coach. My story is real simple. You know, when I came out of college, I had a 525 credit score and I had over $40,000 worth of consumable debt. And I read a book called The Road to Wealth. And within 12 months of reading that book, I was able to take my credit score up over 700. And within 24 months, I took my credit score to 805. If you guys can see that, 805. And my credit score has not been lower than 805 for 15 straight years. And I actually became consumer debt free within 2002. I owned everything with my name on it. And I became financially independent in 2008. I had a strong six-figure income, and what I've learned is that success is a team sport. And today, I've got the greatest baseball person in my mind that's actually taught my children, baseball at the highest level. It's called Select Baseball. This is the founder and the creator of what was known as the Houston Athletics, but now have joined a national program called the Canes. And this is Mr. Jim Brock. Mr. Jim Brock, how are you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing fine, DJ. How are you, baby?
I'm doing good. Has it been a while since we've seen each other in person?
Yeah, I know. I like that D on that hat, baby.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get you a C hat.
I'll get that. Like I said, I got to figure out what to do with my Houston Athletics stuff now.
Well, I told you can sell at an antique shop.
Okay. So Coach, why don't you tell us a little bit about your backstory, how you became passionate about baseball, and kind of catch us up to speed of where we are today, and then we'll ask you some other questions about the program in its entirety and how it's had a successful impact in our community, Coach.
Well, I started playing baseball when I was 8 years old in Memphis, Tennessee. Quick story about that. I tried out for a team called Stewart's Rosebud Coffee. And at that time, they didn't have birth certificates. Supposed to be from 8 to 12, but it was probably 8 to 20. And, I obviously didn't make the team as an 8-year-old, but I kind of cried to the coach and I said, "Can I get a uniform?" He said, "Well, we need a bat boy." I said, "Well, as long as I get a uniform, I'll be the bat boy." So at 8 years old, I was a bat boy for Stewart's Rosebud Coffee. And then when I was 9 years old, I got to start for him in center field. And then as I got older, I started pitching. And when I was 12, I set a record there in Memphis through 3 no-hitters in a row. And,
wow. 3 no-hitters in a row at 12?
In a row. And that exceeded a guy named Johnny Vanderveer, who threw 2 no-hitters in a row. But I finally got the third one. I was working on a third one, GJ, and it was we played 5 innings at the time. At the bottom of the 5th, this guy put in 3 midgets, and so I walk off 3 of them. And at that time, I was very unpoised, and so with walking 3, I threw my glove down and started stalking around, and I walk 4 and we lose 1-0. A guy gets a base hit and drives in 1, and that ended my streak. But there's old theory there. Don't lose your cool when you play this game, particularly if you're a pitcher. And that was a lesson I learned. I could have had 4, but I went on later on at 16, I pitched another no-hitter, and that was real interesting because I was batting in the 4-hole. First 3 guys get on. Coach calls for a squeeze bunt. I bunt right to the pitcher in the air. They get a triple play.
What? Oh my goodness!
Yeah. So anyway, so I went on a little bit upset about that fine bunt, and threw a no-hitter at those guys. And, so anyway, I learned to keep my cool. but you know, that was a real bad play. Bunted right to him in the air. So anyway, that was my. Then I played high school ball there in Memphis and had a real successful career there. Offered a scholarship to Rice University here in Houston. So I played here at Rice for 4 years, one as a freshman and 3 on the varsity, and had some good success there. But I couldn't. I wanted to go and be a pro baseball player, but I had an Army commitment for 2 years, and so I went to the Army. Well, I took me 5 years to get through Rice. Pretty tough school, if you know it. And my 5th year, I was the freshman coach. So I started my coaching career in 1961 as a freshman coach at Rice University. Then I went to the Army for 2 years. I coached the post team there at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. And on that team, we had some pretty good players. One guy was named Jim Budcat Grant. He was with the Cleveland Indians.
Oh, yeah.
And while he was in the Army, he was able to pitch for Cleveland. He'd kind of pitch for me during the week and loosen up, and then he'd go to Cleveland on the weekends and pitch for the Cleveland Indians. Fact is, in the World Series on about that time, about 63, 64, he won 2 games in the World Series for Cleveland. So, yeah, good a good guy to be around, you know, and he taught me a lot about pitching and a lot about coaching, particularly at that high level. It was at the time that they called all the reserves in for one of the crises, and we had 9 pro players on my team. So
Wow.
we were fairly good. So anyway, that when I got out of the service, I started coaching at a place called Westbury American. I didn't have a kid playing. I just loved the game, and I wanted to get back into coaching. So my back door neighbor had a kid playing there at Westbury American. So he said, I went to him. I said, "Hey, do you need a coach?" He said, "Yeah, my kid doesn't have a coach." So I started coaching his kid, and out of Westbury American Little League, in about 1968, a team went to the Little League World Series.
Okay.
And
down in Williamsport, right?
huh?
Is that Williamsport Little League World Series?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I had a chance. I finished second that year, and they took you had to finish in the champion to go to Williamsport for it as a coach. But the coach at the championship, he said, "Why don't you come with me and coach my pitching?" So I'm working at Arthur Anderson's time, about one of the big 8 accounting firms. And I went in and I said, "Say, I want to go to Williamsport for 2 weeks." And they said, "Why don't you stay there?"
No.
So
that was a nice way of them telling you fired, huh?
Yeah, they said, "Yeah, make that trip and you're gone." So anyway, they weren't too pleased with that. So I came back and coached a few more years at Westbury American. And then my son came along, and I started coaching his team when he was 8, and we were at Katy National Little League. And then this friend of mine had a kid on a team named Philip Tribe. Philip Tribe went on to the Yankee organization and pitched for New York a couple of times.
Not familiar with him.
And his dad said, "Hey, coach, let's take a ride." And so we take a ride and we go over to a weeded up softball complex that had been vacant for probably 2 years. And in the middle of that complex, they had a building. The weeds were so high from the outside fence, we couldn't see the building.
Wow.
So anyway, we go back and get some sickles. We sickle our way into the building, down the road to the building. And so we look around and we said, there were 4 fields right around the building as usual, and a couple of outlying fields. And so I went to the county in Harris County and I said, hey, look, what are you going to do with the softball complex? They said, well, we don't have any idea. I said, well, I've got the Pony League franchise for this area. So they said, well, what do you want to do with that? I said, I'm going to put a Pony League there.
Okay.
So we put a Pony League there, and it's still there, DJ. It's still going strong. One of the best pony leagues around. And out of that Pony League, we started probably the first travel team in Houston.
Okay, so that's where the travel teams began.
Yeah, we started them, and so I took the top players out of the Pony League, and we traveled all over Houston, and played anybody that'd play us. So we had a good time with that, and that was my experience with baseball. Then my grandsons were born, and I started coaching them where they were 8 or 9 at Spring Branch Memorial Sports Association, and I coached there till they were 15, and I coached. Fortunately, I was nominated to coach all the All-Star team coming out of there, so I coached the All-Star teams coming out of the Spring Branch Memorial Sports Association, and had some really good times and some really good players coming out of there who went on to college. In fact, there's 2 or 3 of them went to Rice and played there at Rice. So anyway, from there, I took a couple of years off, and finally I love football. And so I wanted to coach football. So there was an opening at a place called Luther North. It's a school here in town up on the north side. So they had an ad said needed a football coach. So I went up and interviewed, got the job. And so I coached football, and spring comes around, and they said, well, we need a pitching coach. So I said, that's me. So I became the pitching coach on that team. Well, lo and behold, one of the other coaches left and went to another school. So we advertised for a baseball coach. So all of a sudden, one afternoon, we're sitting there in the coach's office, and this tall, skinny little kid comes in. And so Coach Koch says, practice doesn't start till 3:30. He said, no, I'm here to interview for the coaching job. So Coach Koch says, how old are you? He said, well, I just turned 21. He said, but I did graduate from the University of Houston. And he said, I want to be a baseball coach. And Coach Koch says, well, come on out, we'll try you out. So we tried out a tall, skinny little kid named Ricky Watkins.
Okay, so that's where you and Ricky met.
Yeah. So anyway,
I thought it was over in A-Leaf. I thought you guys had met over in A-Leaf.
No. So about two weeks later, Coach Watkins, about that time I was probably 45 or 50, old enough to be his grandpa, probably was. So anyway, he comes up to me. He said, Coach, he said, I hate to tell you this, but he said, I might leave. I said, well, where are you going to go? He said, well, I got an opportunity next year to be the head coach at Westbury Christian High School. Okay. And he said, what do you think? I said, well, what do you mean, what do I think? He said, I want you to go with me. I said, well, I just started here. That wouldn't be real appropriate, wouldn't it? He said, yeah, but he said, you can go and we'll have some real good teams. And at that time we were both coaching with the Columbia Angels select organization. He said, we're going to bring some of the Angels there to school, and you can talk to their parents and get them to come to Westbury Christian. So anyway, make a long story short, 5 years later, we have about a 75-25 record over 5 years at Westbury Christian.
Oh, wow.
Play the playoffs every year. In our and fifth year, all of the starting nine all went to college to play baseball. And one of them went to the pros, signed with the Colorado Rockies. And he's now playing, I think he's with the Brewers or the Twins and AAA in Las Vegas. Kid named Dylan Thomas. And
okay.
So anyway, we continue to coach with the Angels and got a little disenchanted there because, with the Angels, we weren't doing what we wanted to do, and that was develop players.
Right.
Our mission statement for the Houston Athletics reads like we develop players, and that was our goal. I had a garage full of trophies, and so we didn't need to go play in any tournaments to win a couple of trophies. So it was about developing players, and we did go some tournaments, obviously win because we developed some pretty good players. And what's really interesting is that on our current staff, we have 2 or 3 coaches who played for us at Westbury Christian.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
That makes us feel real good because, not only did we develop good players that went to college, but my other goal was to develop good little league coaches. And so, now we've got some kids that played for us who learned our system, who learned what we were about, who learned what we talked about, our leadership, being good teammates, and they're now teaching that for us. So, it makes it really feel good. And
absolutely. That was one of the things that attracted us to your organization when my son and I came over, and obviously the Yates, who are still with the program, were good friends of ours for 7 years, told us about you guys. And we had seen you guys throughout a few select tournaments from having played against you guys every now and then. And then once I came out to the complex, I was like, you know what, this is what we've been looking for. The professionalism, the commitment to development, not chasing new trophies like most of these select programs do, and not trying to wear out the players and, tear their arms and all that crazy stuff. That's what we began to, develop an affinity for the program. And I think you guys have a world-class program from top to bottom. And if you could talk about the complex and how it came about, putting that complex together, because a lot of people don't realize what a great complex you have, and it's a little hidden gem right there off of Highway 6 that it's hard to find, but once you get there, it's like your own little oasis. Kind of reminds you like the Field of Dreams, with Kevin Costner. That's what your complex reminds me of.
Yeah, we call it Deliverance. The old movie Deliverance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you go down off of Highway 6, you turn left and go down a street that's really nice. Then at the end of that street, there's a sign that says, "Go one way."
Right.
But our way is not on a sign. You have to go left to go to.
I got lost the first time I came there.
Yeah. So anyway, and you go down a road there that you don't travel at night, unless you got a machine gun. So you travel down that road about a quarter of a mile, and all of a sudden you come to the end of the road, and boom.
Yes, sir.
There's 2 big baseball fields there, and a big building with 6 lanes of batting cage.
And, man, you talk about beautiful sight. I'm telling you, it's lovely.
We have a little league field there with a green fence around it, kind of like the Green Monster.
I was about to say, like Boston. Yep, yeah. That's what I thought when I first saw it.
And then we have a high school field at it's about 300 down each line, and a real nice field which we really take care of. We have a lot of pride in our field. To be successful in select baseball, you have to have your own field.
Yep.
And so, we have our own field, which we're really proud of, and we take good care of it. And just a quick story about that. The tarp in our batting cage was about 10 years old. And so I'll go to the owner and I said, "Hey, look, if you'll abate the rent for December, I'll put the carpet in the batting cage. So he said, oh, sure. So in early January, I go back to the owner. I said, hey, obviously I didn't know what tarp costs. So I said,
wonder why he agreed so quickly.
Yeah, so it looked like I'm gonna have to pay the January rent too. He said, no, coach. He said, you know how much carpet costs? I said, no, but I'm guessing. He said, well, it's about $12,000 to carpet the whole building. He said, I'll do it, but you're gonna have to live up to your word. You're gonna have to pay December, January. So I paid December, January, and I got our car for $12,000. Heck of a deal. And we got brand new turf in our batting cage, which really was necessary, which really needed. And, it's a great 6-lane, and we put some mounds in there for pitching and a couple of lanes. The rest of the lanes we use for hitting. And this past year, I tried to, every year I try to do something that sets us apart from everybody else. So before the virus started, I bought a fungo band, and we got a fungo band there, which is outstanding. We can load up a bucket of balls and hit all day long there. And then we bought 2 little machines that throw ground balls and throw fly balls. So we put one of them on the left side of the infield and one on the right side of the infield, so we can take care of second, first, right field, third and short, left field. And
we also put those pitching mounds in like the season before that. Remember, right beside the batting cage.
Yeah. We do have those. We got two good mounds there that we use, and we lighted the area over there where we can pitch there at night. And we do everything we can to make it special for the kids.
Absolutely.
Basically, so many people have the wrong idea about kid baseball. My idea, Coach Watkins' idea, our staff's idea is it for the kids.
Absolutely.
And so we do everything we can to make it good for the kids. And, even during this off season with the virus, every night we had a Zoom presentation about something, pitching, hitting, catching, outfield, infield, at night, where the kids could stay up with their baseball.
Actually keeping the community and the continuity, which I'm pretty sure, Coach, that a lot of other organizations didn't do that. And they probably have, broken apart because they're fragilely connected in the first place. So do me a favor, Coach, because we've only got about 8 minutes left. Tell us about the beginning age to come into the program and the exit age of the kids to go to college. Can you talk about that? What's the age group when they come in, and what's the development when they come out of the program, and what's the expectations? Because obviously I've been involved with you guys for a couple of years and I know it, but the people out here in our viewer world don't know exactly what's so special about the program in of itself. Can we talk to that briefly, Coach?
Yeah. Well, we have teams at 11 through 14 in our youth program, and that program is really our development program. And right now we have 2 12s, 4 13s, and 3 14s in that program, which will crank off next week as units. And then in our high school program, we have 2 15s, 2 16s, 2 17s, about 100 kids in our high school program. And basically that program is oriented to be our college development program. And out of that program, we probably sent this past year about 20 kids to college. And, that's the goal of that program, is to get our kids shown before college coaches and to and to let them play at college fields. We play at TCU, A&M, University of Houston, UTSA, and we take the kids and let them perform in front of college coaches. And,
so pretty much get them exposure and get them acclimated to the speed of the game as they go to the next level, Coach?
Yes, yes. It's, you know, the difference between our 14 and our 15 is a big jump.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
You know, not only in size, but in skill, and the speed of the game really increases, you know. But when you go from high school to college, that game really increases. And so consequently, we try to get our kids prepared for that by going to these various colleges and putting them in front of the college coaches. Basically, the college coaches, after we perform, we'll have an inter-squad game, and we'll take batting practice, and we'll let our pitchers pitch. And you know, after that, we ask the college coaches to talk to our kids about the college game. And so very successful in that area. And it's something that we do for the kids. Again, our purpose is for the kids.
Absolutely.
You know, and so consequently, that was a basis. If you read the mission statement for the Houston Athletics, started 5 years, almost 6 years now. This November will be 6 years old. And then, you know, unfortunately or fortunately, we had the opportunity to join probably the top select team in the country. The Canes out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right, congratulations.
Yeah, a quick story about that. I was coaching in Jupiter, Florida, and we had a game at 2 o'clock. And so, you know, as usual, my way to do things, I get there at 1 o'clock. At 1:15, my opponent hadn't gotten there. At 1:30, my opponent still hadn't gotten there. So I get on the phone. I call the tournament director. I said, you know, I'm here to field. It's 20 till 2, and my opponent still hadn't gotten here. He said, hang on, Coach. I think I see him coming. Well, I looked out in the outfield. Coming down the street was a Greyhound bus, a elongated Greyhound bus. Had a big extension on it.
No kidding.
And on the side of it, it had the Carolina Canes.
Oh, my goodness.
So
Talk about intimidation.
Yeah, that was my first introduction. and I subsequently found out that at 12 years old, if you can make that Carolina team, you played free, and everything is provided for you, gloves, bats, balls, and your parents got to go on all the trips too. And
wow.
So the parents were in the back of the bus and the kids were in front, and that was the Carolina Canes. So
wow.
I put that in my memory bank, you know, and so, you know, when the Carolina Canes came to Texas, you know, particularly coming to Houston, I remembered that, you know, that elongated bus, you know, I'm thinking, man, you know, we might do this.
That was an indelible moment, huh?
Yeah, so we had the opportunity to join the Carolina Canes. We're playing as the Canes in the fall, but we'll really kick off with the Canes in the spring.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to that. It makes us probably the #1 select team in Houston. You know, we have some other teams here in Houston that think they're good, but you know, when we play as the Canes, we'll really be good. And
absolutely.
What's really interesting is that I was talking to a parent last night and taking some information down about, you know, paying for the uniforms and things. And I said, well, sir, that's a funny zip code. Where are you located? He said, New Caney. Well, New Caney from our facility is about 60 miles.
Yeah.
So they're traveling 60 miles to be a part of the Canes. So that tells you about the Canes and what the.
Well, hey, Coach, if I can interject here, but before you had the affiliation with the Canes, we had people coming from downtown Houston, from the medical center, being a part of Houston Athletics. Now
Oh yeah.
I understand the Canes are phenomenal, but the Athletics had a draw from throughout the whole city. I mean, I come from a good 20 miles to get to you guys alone.
And we had a kid that just signed with a college in Oklahoma, and he came from Needville.
Right.
And Needville to our facility is about an hour, 5-minute drive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Then just as a kind of a human interest story, I'd like to tell this story. As if you're familiar with the Houston area, there's a little town down south named Santa Fe.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Santa Fe was a school where they had the big shooting. I think 11 people got killed in the shooting at the school, and 7 or 8 or 10 people got injured. One of the kids that got injured, a kid named Rome Schubert, and Rome was a kid who had his day on the Today Show, but even worse than that, he got shot in the neck, in the back of the neck. It went through the back of the neck, out the side, and he lived.
Yeah, I remember that.
And about 2 months later, he was pitching for the Houston Athletics. What a great kid. And he'll start his career this year. He graduated from Santa Fe. He played with us for 3 or 4 years. And he just signed with Wharton Junior College and a great junior college program. He'll be pitching for them. And fortunately, they're about an hour away from my house. So I'll get to go down and see him pitch. Great kid he is, you know. I mean,
that's phenomenal. Hey, Coach, tell you what we're gonna do for the sake of time. We're gonna have to bring you back and interview again. So here's what I'd love for you to do. Tell us where the complex is located. Tell us what 3 takeaways you would like to have in like 60 seconds, and then we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna come back and bring you back on the platform because we are limited by time, unfortunately, Coach, and obviously, knowing that you have a wealth of knowledge about baseball and the things you do in the community, it would be unfair if we didn't bring you back to bring the follow-up story. So can you tell us where the complex is located, when the season is going to get back fully open, and what can we expect in the future with the alignment with the Canes? And then we'll come back and do a part 2 with you and Ricky, if that's okay with you, Coach.
That'll be fine. That'll be fine. Our complex is located down Highway 6. Around 2 subdivisions called Lake Olympia, and the other one's called the Sienna Plantation, and it's down in a little town called Fresno. And Fresno, you go down Highway 6, if you're headed towards Highway 45, it's about another 6 miles to Highway 45. Next little town is a town called Manville, and you know, Manville, great football
town.
It's I mean, they have some horses there playing at Manville. And you know, we'll be back open up completely on next week.
Okay.
We're going to start practicing as teams, and in the month of June and July, we're going to have we split the teams up in the youth division. We had a draft, and so the 12 is playing with 13s, and the 14s are playing by themselves. And so we'll have inter-squad games between the 13s and 14 to get the kids to see the speed of the game.
Absolutely.
Get the 12-year-old to play against 14-year-old, and so consequently, that'll be a big jump for those kids and a great experience. Then our high school program will kick that off in the last week of July, and we'll play in what we call 5-2 tournaments. You know, our first tournament will be against the Canes teams out of Central Texas.
Okay.
So there'll be about 5 Canes teams up in Central Texas, Austin, Dallas, San Antonio. They'll come to our park to play against us and each other. And so then we'll start our regular high school season with 5 different weekends and 5 different tournaments. So we'll play at places around Houston,
Okay.
and our park also. So,
Okay.
that'll be our schedule, and we're looking forward to it as we take the key field as the Houston Southwest Canes.
Okay. And is the website still the same currently, Coach Brock, or is it a different website now? Can you give them the website address that we currently can send them to, or a email and a contact number that we can put down at the bottom of the link when we air this for everybody?
Well,
is it still our original website, or is that changing as well, sir?
yeah, no, we have the original website, but we also are using kind of part of the Canes website out of Central Texas. There's a whole bunch of information on there about the Houston Cane and a lot of our players.
Okay.
The featured player on that website is a kid going to the Air Force Academy, and we're very proud of that when you send somebody to the Air Force Academy. And then we got a kid going to Princeton, and that's hard to match.
Absolutely.
You gotta have brains and skill.
Well, you got a kid going to the engineering school at Texas A&M also too.
Yeah, we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do.
Absolutely. It's the same. My son was got into that school too, into the engineering school, but he chose to go to UT's engineering school in the fall.
Yeah. So anyway, that's our goal, is to develop baseball player. But again, DJ, I'm more interested in developing citizens, good citizens.
Absolutely.
I try to tell people, what do you coach? And I say, I coach life and baseball. And baseball's like life.
Absolutely. I
Like
think it's no better way to end this part 1 of this interview, Coach, than on that. Life in baseball, and baseball is life. And I agree 100%. I think that's what binds us together is our love for the game, because we understand the love for the game is actually teaches how to be, citizens of the world and be respectful, represent everybody with dignity, and go out there and do the best that we can and work hard. Because my grandfather told me, Coach Brock, the only time you find success before work is in the dictionary. So,
That's right.
Coach Brock, I want to thank you very much for your time, sir. We ought to come back and do this again and give you the time that you deserve to have to continue to tell the rest of the story. And as we always end this thing out, Nick, your part in 30 seconds for what you found out about Coach Brock, and then I'll just wrap it up, and I'll thank Coach Brock for his time again. What do you say, Nick?
Wow, a lot of history there. And the one key takeaway that I got from this, going off of what DJ just said, is that even if you never played baseball, don't have any interest in baseball, you can take the principles and the lessons that Coach Brock has given us and transfer them over to your personal life. And that's an amazing thing.
That's amazing. I told you Coach Brock would not disappoint on this interview. So Coach Brock, if you can give us 30 seconds parting words, and then we'll just say thank you for your time, and we'll see you in part 2 of the interview, Coach Brock. Okay,
thank you, DJ. I enjoyed it. And, anytime I can talk about baseball and kids, give me some time, baby.
Absolutely. And our parting is every time, Coach Brock, we want everybody to have a pom-pom lifestyle, Coach Brock. That's plenty of money and peace of mind. And we always say, come join us on the beaches of the world. But today we say, come join us on the diamond at the Deliverance at the complex with Coach Brock, the Houston Athletics, but now about to become the Southwest Canes. And I commend you on all the success. I look forward to continue to be part of the program, Coach Brock. And thank you for your time and your investment and doing great work in our community, Coach Brock. I salute you, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All righty.
All right.